What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Stocks with Mike and Tom show. We have a ton of information to go over in today's video. Tesla's battery date is finally tomorrow, so we have a lot to cover regarding Tesla, and then we also have some important news in the political spectrum, and then some news with Powell too. So at the end of the video, we're also going to be covering a $2 million options trade for tomorrow. But we have a lot of information to cover in today's video, especially with Tesla and Powell. There's a lot of things going on in the market right now. The market had a pretty bad day today. The Dow was down about 800 points at its low. So we have a lot to go over. So make sure you stick around to the end of the episode to hear all the plays for tomorrow. So if you guys are new here, don't forget to subscribe to see our daily videos on your YouTube homepage every single day. But with that being said, let's get right into it. So Tom, what major news happened in the stock market today?
Yeah, the big news is that battery day is finally upon us. September 22nd, which is tomorrow, is going to be whenever they unveil this event. And it's going to be at 4:30 p.m. Eastern time whenever they have their annual shareholder meeting. And then the actual event itself will be after the shareholder meeting. So they'll talk about all the advancements in their batteries and stuff like that after that shareholder meeting. But just keep in mind the shareholder meeting is going to be pretty important also, as they're still going to discuss a lot of the company's statistics monetarily and, just the company's monetary funds right now. But this is awesome. CEO Elon Musk has said that this will blow your mind, and he even promised in a recent earnings call that it blows his mind, and he knows it, and that many exciting things are going to come at this event. So, and whenever he says stuff like that, just expect Tesla to really have some big moves, and they have a ton of technology that they're going to be unveiling here. They're supposed to be unveiling, they're supposed to make their batteries a lot lighter. They're supposed to make them have a lot more power with fewer cells, and they're supposed to have that 1,000,000-mile battery where the battery can travel 1,000,000 miles before you finally have to replace that given battery. And this is just awesome technology, and I cannot wait for that event tomorrow.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of hype around this event, and that can help the situation, but also hurt the situation too, because sometimes too much hype is actually bad for the stock, because when you just, see Tesla's battery day all over Facebook, all over CNBC, all over all these Discord groups saying how this is just gonna be the best thing ever, sometimes it overhypes the stock to the point where, even if they do have a great presentation, the stock can still fall. So going into battery day, it's definitely a risky event to trade. And I'm just going to say this flat out. If you are a safe trader or a safe investor, battery day is not going to be for you, because the first thing is that this is happening in after hours. So let's say you get in some call options or put options on Tesla before close tomorrow. If Tesla stock tanks or explodes, you're going to be stuck holding those options until the market opens. So that's the first major risk. The second major risk, especially when it comes down to the options market, is the implied volatility is so high right now. So pretty much what's happening is Tesla stock right now is at about $450 for the weekly contracts. The weekly contracts, so the contract to expire in 4 days, market makers are expecting a $70 move to the upside and the downside. So, just to put that into perspective, if we look at the upside, because I know a lot of people are really looking at Tesla to the upside, if you buy calls on this, you would need Tesla above $520 to make any real money off of this event. And market makers are expecting a lot of volatility with this event. So, looking at the situation, I would not play this event, but I'm a safe trader. I don't like to trade things where it's a 50-50 shot. And, just considering there's so much hype into the event, I think it could go either way. I mean, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I think it could easily go either way. And my biggest concern right now is that we're going to see a big pop or something like that in after hours and maybe in pre-market. And then whenever the market opens, the stock could just tank. I know that we've been seeing that happen a lot lately, where these stocks will have great news and they'll pop in pre-market. And then once the market actually opens, they'll just tank. And, I don't know why that's happening, but I mean, it's happened even with Oracle lately. We can see ORCL, they had that great news with TikTok, and obviously they were up a lot, but then they just tanked, for the whole rest of the day, including for that rest of the time in pre-market. And it even happened a few days before that as well with them. And I mean, we're seeing that with a lot of earnings releases right now, and just a whole lot of things with that have a lot of volume coming into these stocks. And honestly, it's just one of those things that I'm personally not going to trade because I'm one of those safer investors, like you said, who definitely would not want to be playing this. But it's one of those trades that I think that I think honestly, unless you're going to be getting in and out really quickly, I don't think that you should hold this through that event unless you have a lot of money and you don't care about losing that money on this. I would only trade this with money that you are comfortable losing, because you could honestly wake up to a 75% loss potentially if it goes against you.
There's a lot of hype around the event. There's a lot of people on Facebook, on CNBC, even in the comments down below saying, Tesla stock's going to explode. And then there's a lot of people saying, it's going to tank 20%. So I'm seeing a lot of different opinions, and there's just so much hype around this event. But I'm split because given the options, the market makers' expectations, and just the hype around the event, like part of me makes me not think it's gonna like be what everyone is hyping it up to be. But at the same time, it seems like you can never doubt Elon Musk, who says these crazy things, but he always ends up making them happen. So I'm definitely not going to doubt on Elon, but at the same time, I'm not falling into the hype. So if anything, for me, I would look to trade Tesla after the event. So for example, there's going to be a lot of people taking some huge risks getting into Tesla before the event, right? Because if the market moves, or if Tesla moves up or down, they won't be able to close out until the market opens. However, I might get in after the event already happens that next morning and maybe just ride the momentum off of that. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think it'd be smartest to play shares on it if people can afford that. I think that shares would be the smarter way to go on this,
I agree.
Just because of that expected move.
For sure. And then what's going on with Powell?
Yeah, Powell and Mnuchin are going to be testifying before Congress tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Eastern time, which is an hour after the market opens. And then they're also going to be testifying again Wednesday at 10 a.m. Eastern time. And they're going to be getting grilled on the need for another stimulus package. And Congress right now has been having a lot of problems trying to get this stimulus package passed. And there's just a whole bunch of stuff going through this right now where they're just fighting back and forth and they just cannot come to terms on this. And it seems like that they're dragging it on and on. So really, I could see this, this testifying, or this speech, for example, I could see that actually being a factor going into these negotiations, because a lot of Congress doesn't think that they should be putting out the funds that they should be putting out. And maybe if they, come in and say, look, the economy is doing really bad, maybe then they'll allocate more funds towards this bill.
True. It's classic politics going back and forth. But, Powell, he historically, he has moved the markets. He moved the markets a little bit recently, but I'm definitely going to tune into his, his speeches for this week, just to get a better grip on everything. But yeah, it's definitely something to pay attention to for the rest of.
Unfortunately, Tesla is really overshadowing it, though.
What do you mean?
They're really overshadowing Powell and Mnuchin speaking this week. Like, I know a lot of people are still, waiting for Powell and Mnuchin to talk, of course, but it just seems like that a lot of the news and people like that are not talking about Powell as much, and they're just all focusing straight on Tesla right now.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly what we're saying. There's so much hype around this event. Even Elon himself is very excited about this event. So I think it's going to be a great thing to watch, whether you get into Tesla or not. Like, I'm most likely not going to get into Tesla before the event, but I'm still going to listen to the shareholder press conference and the Battery Day event. So
yeah, definitely. And then we even had some more politics where Congress needs to pass a spending plan before September 30th to avoid another government shutdown. And it seems like every year or every couple of years, we get to a certain month where if we don't pass this bill to allocate funds, the government's going to have to shut down. And sometimes we've had it in the past where the government actually shut down for a few days, and it actually did end up affecting the markets in a negative way. And Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell tweeted today and said, House Democrats' rough draft of government funding bill shamelessly leaves out relief and support that American farmers need. This is no time to add insult to injury and defund help for farmers and rural America. And I'm not trying to make this political or anything, but I'm just saying that with the Senate Majority Leader tweeting that out, it looks like we're going to be in for a pretty bumpy ride until the end of September, which is in about 9 or 10 days. And that's going to be a pretty bumpy ride until then. And I think you're going to see a lot of fighting within the Senate and the House until that bill gets passed.
Yeah. All right. So now for our Discord member of the day. And today's Discord member of the day is Segal. So Segal has been sharing some great information in the Stocked Up Discord group. Always very kind and asking great questions too. So huge shout out to Segal for being a great Discord member. So thank you. And now for our momentum plays for tomorrow. And the first one is CVNA. So this stock had a pretty great day in the market today, up about 5.5%, closing near its highs. It's Carvana. So what levels should we be watching?
I would really watch for it to break above the 176 level. I know that's a few points away from where it is now, but that was a pretty good resistance the other day.
Yep, so if it breaks above that level, we will be eyeing CVNA to the upside. With the next play, we have ETSY, Etsy.
Etsy, make them break above 116.75.
Yep, again to the upside. And then last but not least, we have Roku, ROKU, again to the upside, breaking all-time highs today.
Man, all-time highs again on this stock, make them break 190 to the upside. But that's crazy. I cannot believe they're breaking all-time highs again. It seems like they do this every week.
Right? They're up just under 18% today. That is insane. Yeah, all right. So now for the unusual options activity for tomorrow, and we are looking at the AMD 80 strike call options that expire this Friday, September 25th. So there's about $2 million put into this play. Looking at AMD, I can see the unusual options activity longing this play. AMD had a pretty good day, and it looks like it's holding support relatively well. You know, I don't love the play, but I can definitely see the big money behind the play longing these options. Like I said, I don't love the play, but I can see where they're coming from. What do you think?
Yeah, I love the intraday setup on AMD. It really looks good how it closed all at their daily highs, and they also held that support, like you said, at the end of the day. So that was great to see for them. And I think that they could. I think since it's so close with the $80 calls, I could see them hitting $80 over the next few days. It looks like there was a resistance the other day at $80.33. So I think that's pretty strategic for them to put it at 80.
Awesome. So we had Make saying, what should I do with Tesla to make a good trade? So the best thing to do, in my opinion, is to wait until after the event. There's going to be a ton of volatility with the shareholder meeting and battery day. And considering that if the trade, like for example, like let's say you get in calls on it and it goes against you, you won't be able to close out of that position until the market opens the next morning. So with that being said, I think the best trade is no trade on Tesla. But if anything, after their meeting, so the next morning, so Wednesday morning, if we see some solid momentum to the upside or the downside, just ride that. You know, like there's really, like the thing is, like you don't have to force a very risky situation where you'll have no control over the play, considering the market's closed. Like for example, like if you get into an option, you won't be able to close out of it until the market's closed. So why even risk that? You know, unless you want to gamble. But if you want to do that, expect results that gamblers usually get. Just keep in mind that there's a lot of hype around the situation, and it's a very risky event.
Yeah, and whenever a lot of guys win on Tesla, they're obviously really gung-ho and they want to post all their pictures of their wins. But just keep in mind that whenever they lose on Tesla, they probably lose pretty big and they don't post any of their losses.
True. Yeah, you see all these huge gains all over the internet, you know, plus 300 grand on Tesla in a day, or, you know, plus a couple million, but not too many people share the losses with those big trades. So keep that in mind. And then we had Whitney asking about some levels for the market for tomorrow. So Tom, what levels are you watching? What should we keep our eyes on?
Yeah, on a daily chart, I really like the S&P 500 here. It looks pretty good on a daily level, at least to the downside, that is. I know it kind of looked like it was going to pop back up at the end of the day. And the thing was nice that SPY held support today around 322. I thought that was really good for the SPY to hold that support, especially with Tesla's battery day coming up. I think that could, I know Tesla's not in the SPY at all, but, you know, just the overall market movement here might help it. But I think that if the SPY can hold this 322 level, I could see it rising up tomorrow, possibly back up to 335. But a lot of this could also depend on what happens tonight whenever the market, whenever futures start trading overnight. But if we do end up falling below that 322 level, I have another support down here at around 313. So, you know, I really have on my supports up on the chart right now, if you want to look at them. And I think that we could trade between these ranges for about a month or two if the market does not collapse, that is.
Right? So yeah, there's of course these levels are great, but just keep in mind any event can affect this, you know. So the levels that Tom is showing today, they can definitely be affected by any type of catalyst, whether it be, you know, political news or economic news or something Powell says. You know, events also have a strong influence on the market overall. So thank you for sharing that, Tom. And great question, Whitney. So with that being said, Tom, do you have any last minute stocks, options, or any insight for the market for tomorrow?
AMD to the upside. This stock closed really nicely today. They had those unusual options today, which was awesome to see, especially since I was looking at them before the market closed. So, you know, I love hearing that. And I just think that they could easily run tomorrow. I really like this 1000 SMA up here as a resistance. So I think that if they come up to that $80 to $81 level, that's where I'd start to take profits on AMD at. But if we rise too much in pre-market, you know, I would say if in pre-market, if we open above 79.50, then I wouldn't even trade this because we'd went up too much at that point.
Good stuff. So thank you for sharing that. And thank you guys so much for watching this video to the end. A huge shout out to everyone who left comments in yesterday's video. So there were so many of you guys who just left comments saying, comment for the algorithm, and just comments to support the channel. So a huge shout out to all of you. Tom and I really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for commenting. It takes like 2 seconds and it really helps grow the channel. So thank you guys so much for that. Thank you for everyone who's been hitting that like button and subscribing to the channel. So thank you everyone for that. If you guys have any questions, let us know in the comments down below. Other than that, thanks for watching.